Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Just Another Talk. And on this episode, we're going to be talking about what Pennsylvania just did that can change the economical landscape forever. On October 23rd, 2024, the Pennsylvania House of Representatives passed House Bill 2481, dubbed the Bitcoin Rights Bill by Dennis Porter, co-founder of the Satoshi Action Fund. With a decisive 176 to 26 bipartisan vote, this legislation positions Pennsylvania among the states at the forefront of digital asset regulation and underscores its commitment to fostering innovation in this sector while addressing critical issues like economical empowerment and financial inclusion. This is a big deal. House Bill 2481 allows for Pennsylvania to allocate 10% of their rainy day fund to Bitcoin. That 10% is equal to $970 million that will be flowing into Bitcoin, possibly over the next 5 years. This is major. Most of the people who are against Bitcoin, more specifically some economists like Paul Krugman, one of their main issues with Bitcoin is the fact that it has no technical use, it has no practical use, or it doesn't have any backstop like fiat currency does. Which I think is ironic because the only backstop that fiat currency has, especially the US dollar, I have a video that can show you what the US dollar is backed by. Roll the clip.
God bless our troops! God bless America! And gentlemen, start your engine!
So as you can see, it's really backed by we're the biggest kid in the schoolyard and we got the biggest stick and we're not afraid to use it. But I digress. Now that Pennsylvania has passed this bill, the next question for all of us, or the next thought process for all of us should be, okay, well, if PA did this, who else is going to do it? You also had Trump say that he would like to take all of the Bitcoin that the DOJ is holding and move it to the Treasury Department so that way we can begin to create a Bitcoin reserve for the United States, which is another big deal, which I also think is one of the reasons and one of the biggest factors why Bitcoin jumped all the way up to pretty much 100K. And I know as of today, as of this video, it's at 93,000. So it has dropped a little bit, but regardless, it's still made a really big increase when it was at 37,000 earlier this year. I think we have to take a step back and look at the people who are saying Bitcoin has no utilization, what they do for a living, what they've been a part of for most of their lives, and why they would think in this manner. A specific example of this is Paul Krugman. He's a very well-known economist. He has a bachelor's from Yale. He has a master's and a PhD from MIT. He's also been a professor at Princeton and the London School of Economics, as well as the University of New York. So he's well-renowned. He has been a very big skeptic of Bitcoin and the ability to integrate it into the economical system. One of the interesting portions of Paul Krugman's comments about Bitcoin is the fact that he almost seems to ignore the adoption of Bitcoin in ETF funds and the fact that BlackRock has now put in about $1 billion into Bitcoin. And now you have Pennsylvania passing a bill, which is, I believe, is going to lead to a cascade of events, going to have other states doing the same thing. As more people start investing into Bitcoin, you'll see a lot of the quote-unquote reservations that experts have about Bitcoin disappear. One of them being the fact that it doesn't have mass adoption. It doesn't have mass adoption because it's deliberately competing against the financial system. If you've been living under a rock, you would know the financial system dominates everything. Well, Bitcoin allows for the little guy like you and I jump in and get a piece of the pie.
Pie.
I'm a very big supporter of Bitcoin. I've been in Bitcoin since 2021. I've been researching Bitcoin since about 2017, and I completely and totally understand how the blockchain works, and I understand why it's going to be adopted by mainstream. And I don't think it's going to take very long. I think in the next 4 years, you'll have a very big boom. Overall, the next 10 years is going to be very big for Bitcoin. The reason I believe that is because if you know nothing about the blockchain, I'll give you the simplest breakdown. The blockchain is the way that you keep track of how many Bitcoins are sold, who sold it, who bought it, who's mining it, how much are they mining, how much are they mining, who's it going to once it's mined, keeps track of everything. And this is all public information. Unlike the gold standard where like, hey, how much gold do we have? Do we have as much gold as the fiat currency we're printing? Definitely don't. That's where you get inflation. The other part of this is that anyone can see this. You don't need anything specific. All you need is internet access and understand where to find the ledger, and you can see all the transactions, which I think is game changer. It's going to lead to an increase in the value of Bitcoin. Now you add that Donald Trump wants to make a reserve of Bitcoin for the United States. You have Pennsylvania passing the House Bill 2481. What's going to be the next domino to fall? I'm not sure. I can't sit here and tell you, hey, I know this is exactly where it's going to go. I know this is going to happen. What I can tell you is that mass adoption of a product usually only happens once it's easy enough for your grandma to do it. Right now, it's not very hard to buy Bitcoin. There's a little bit of a process. You have to sign up through the app, whether it's crypto.com, Coinbase, Kraken, and there are a few other apps as well. But whichever one you use, once you sign up, you deposit some funds, and then you can go ahead and purchase some Bitcoin. You don't need to purchase a full Bitcoin. You can purchase a portion. I think anybody who has a savings account and any kind of expendable cash can easily invest into Bitcoin, and their money is still sitting, but it's accruing interest. There's fluctuation and volatility, but I think that volatility, Jesus Christ, volatility, whatever that word, will be removed as you get more and more adoption of Bitcoin. Not to mention that the reason I'm so high on Bitcoin is because of this next point. Right now, you have about 4.88 billion people who have access to smartphones. There's about 8 billion people in the world total, which means that you have a little bit under half who don't have access to a smartphone. In the coming years, I think a lot more people are gonna have access to smartphones, especially in third world countries. And what does that do? That now means that if you have a bank account and a smartphone, you can now trade your country's currency for US dollars very easily. You just go in the app, buy some Bitcoin in your currency, and then when you want to sell it, you can sell it USD. That now allows you and anybody in a third world country to have USD in their bank account. You know, I made that pretty simple. There are other caveats, like, depending on the country and, is their banking system good and things like that. But this is the start of something. This is where you work out the kinks. The most important kinks have been worked out because you can't print more Bitcoin, can't do anything fraudulent when it comes to Bitcoin because of the blockchain. The blockchain allows anyone to inspect, take a look, as well as the coding doesn't allow for any of the fraudulent activity that you may have with a fiat currency. If you just add 1 billion people having smartphones and they all invested $1, that's just $1 billion added to Bitcoin. Ultimately, what I'm trying to get at is this is the time to get in. This is the time to start learning about what Bitcoin really is, how it can change your life, how you can make money from it. Because I don't think that there will be another time in history, and I could be wrong, but at least as of right now, there might not be another time in history where you can invest into something and get large returns. Now, when I say invest into Bitcoin, I'm not saying 6 months, a year, 2 years. I'm talking about, think about holding your Bitcoin for at least the next 10 years. The fluctuation will be there. It will go up, it will go down. One thing is for sure, it will not disappear. This is not financial advice. I'm only giving my opinion. If you're curious about Bitcoin, the first thing I would do is I'll go ahead and download, whether it's crypto.com or Coinbase, and go ahead and leave my promo code in the description. So if you want to join one of these platforms, you can use my promo code. I would recommend that you go $50 and you invest into Bitcoin. If you don't have $50, that's fine. Invest $20. You don't have $20, invest $5 or $10. It's going to do a few things for you. Number one, it's going to make sure you now have a reason to go look at Bitcoin. Look at if it's moving, if it's going up, if it's going down. The second point is going to be that now you're going to be curious if it goes up. Why did it go up? Why did it shoot up so high? Why did it shoot down so low? That will now spark your curiosity to be like, okay, well, let me Google some stuff. What's going on with Bitcoin? And as you do this, you will start coming across groups and you start coming across just information overall that can show you why things are moving up, why things are moving down, or at least give you an idea of what's going on. So ladies, gentlemen, I really want to know what you guys think on this. Are you in Bitcoin? Do you believe in Bitcoin? Do you think it's nonsense? Would you ever invest in Bitcoin? How much would you invest? Don't forget, I'm going to put my link for the crypto.com and the Coinbase app down in the description. So if you guys want to join, you can use my promo code. I'd greatly appreciate it if you do that. And also, I appreciate all the love, all the views, the comments that you guys are leaving. I have one thing to ask. Somehow, some way, over 90% of my views are not subscribed. If you like what I'm talking about, if you agree with me, even if you disagree with me, just press that like button, press that subscribe button. It helps me out. It helps out the algorithm so more people can get this information. And if there's any topics you guys want to talk about specifically, jump in the DMs. Don't forget, if you jump in the DMs before November 29th, I will give you a promo code that you can use in the merch store for 10% off of anything you buy. With that said, guys, like, share, and subscribe. Until next time.